To my absolute surprise, one common question without a fail I keep getting, whether it's with buyers who are looking for detached freehold homes in York region or $500,000 condos in downtown Toronto, is can we negotiate on prices? I'm here to tell you at the time of recording of this video, and really as of the last 2.5 years, the answer to that question is undoubtedly yes indeed, but it's always contingent upon more specifics. So in today's video, we're going to answer that question. How much can we negotiate? What the market says, what I'm seeing on the ground as a buyer's agent and a seller's agent as well, and a lot more. So let's get started. Let's start with what the market really tells us. For instance, I have all the detached 2-story sales that have occurred in the entirety of the city of Toronto. Everything from this detached 2-story 3-bedroom that sold for $817,000, which was probably linked to the detached homes that have sold so far in February in, for instance, Casa Loma area for $3 million, $3.4 million, or even as high as this detached property that sold for $27 million. But for a really rough understanding, and this is truly a rough understanding, it's only meant for a starter's compass to point us towards the right direction. When we derive the statistics, we see the median original price or list price as $1.5 million, and we see the median sold price as $1.6 million. So really, according to just the averages and medians, when we take this 176 sales for detached 2-story homes, it seems as if homes are selling above asking price. But that's a little bit misleading, and let me tell you why. Because for detached freehold homes in Toronto and York region, wherever it is, the properties really in the 1.5 to below price ranges are the most susceptible to the offer night method of, an asking of, let's say, 1.299 when the property is worth around 1.4, 1.45. And I actually see the highest success rate, even in a down market such as today, the success rate of the offer night method for detached freehold homes in those price points are actually pretty high. So this is obviously reflected in the averages and medians when we derive what the average asking price or median asking price is, or when we compare it to the average and median sale price. But although detached 2-story homes are not selling like they were in peak 2022 and even in certain months of 2023, even in today's down market, an offer night listing for a freehold detached home, it can be successful 5 out of 10 times. But when we take a look at, for instance, purely bungalows, so not 2-story but detached bungalows that have sold in the city of Toronto in February, we see a little bit of a different story. We have all 116 detached bungalows that have sold thus far, and at the time of recording of this video is February 27th. And obviously detached bungalows are much cheaper, although they have bigger lots and sometimes even more upside for investments, but on average they're cheaper. We just simply once again have to derive the averages and medians here, and we see a bit of a different story. We see the median asking price has been $1,049,000, whereas the median sold price has been $1.1 million based on this 115 bungalows. So really that delta has shrunk considerably, but still it would indicate, if you didn't know or didn't have any further context, there isn't any room to negotiate, which is not the case. You see, there is room to negotiate, you just cannot enter yourself into an offer night. As was the case with the detached 2-story list and this bungalow list, we can find a lot of examples of units selling below ask. For instance, this bungalow detached in West Humber had an asking price of $1,050,000, sold for $860,000, $999 to $975. This one in Bendale, this detached bungalow in Bendale, was listed at $1,024,000, sold for $990. And one thing I want to mention is that, especially for freehold properties, the room to negotiate doesn't purely refer to price. A lot of these were conditional. I hope, knock on wood, were conditional, because in today's market, any buyer's agent worth their salt when purchasing a freehold property best ensure that they include and insert a lot of protections, at least in the initial offer. One thing that's non-negotiable to me is inspection. I've made that clear to a lot of my buyer clients, but obviously the financing conditions, survey clauses, any other due diligence clauses having to do with the property. So not only is there room to negotiate on price, even though you might be paying higher than ask if it's an offer night, but undoubtedly there is room to negotiate on the conditions and buyer protections. But to no one's surprise, and this is what a lot of you were probably waiting for, condos are a completely different story. What am I talking about? Let's take a look at condos. We have an entire list of condos that have sold thus far in February in downtown only, downtown being C1 and C8. Here we see on the median and average basis, finally a delta on the negative side. We see the original price or list price, the median being $668,000, with the median sold price at $659,000. That is almost $20,000 difference. Once again, that is on a median and average basis. It's funny to see the mode being $499,000 because essentially that means the failed offer night method is still live and well in condos, and that's exactly what it is. As I referred to my earlier video, maybe 2 videos back, the offer night method is failing miserably for condos, in contrast to what I said earlier on in the video with regards to freehold, where the freehold is a 50-50, depending obviously on particular street and neighborhood. Like everything I talk about on this channel, when you actually give me a call, book a call with me in the description, I break it down more so intimately to your specific niche or region or neighborhood if you're a buyer or seller. But generally speaking, for freehold properties, it is a toss-up. For condos, it is not a toss-up. It is determined. Offer nights fail. Do not do it. So that's more of a quantitative look. Qualitatively, what am I seeing on the ground representing buyers and sellers? More so in today's markets, more buyers than sellers. Well, I'm seeing much of the same thing. Now, with my business, its variance is much more. Almost all the properties we have purchased for buyers in the last 2 years have been purchased below asking price. The few exceptions that were purchased above asking price, and even minimizing the scope to the last, let's say, 6 months, I've purchased units for clients. I have represented buyers in purchases where we purchased the unit $5,000 less than asking, with no exaggeration, and no exaggeration on the other end of the spectrum. We've purchased certain units $50,000 to $60,000 below asking, and $50,000 to $60,000 in the 500s and the 600s is a lot of money. It's nearly 10%. So when I say it comes to a case-by-case basis, it really is a case-by-case basis. In certain cases, the property is significantly overpriced on the initial pricing, and the fair market value is truly $60,000. In other cases, the property isn't even that overpriced, but it was a motivated seller, or I worked some magic. I'll take small credit here and there. I was able to push for a good deal. In other cases, really, the listing price was quite fair, and the $5,000 we negotiated off the price was just a cherry on top because the listing price was fair. The building was a good building. We did our other due diligences, and we saw it was a good opportunity. Why not go for it? But undoubtedly, prices are negotiable. According to the general markets, for instance, downtown as a point of reference is $20,000 on average. But if we were to go individually on the list, we would see many have sold $70,000 below ask, many have sold $5,000 below ask. And in my experience as well, prices are negotiable, and also other terms and conditions are negotiable as well. All right, guys, hopefully that was informative. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you.